Hey, you fucks. This is Everyone's Wrong. I'm Dave, a.k.a. The Great White North.
And I am Dustin, the Trust Buster Dark.
The Trust Buster. What's up with that one?
Do you know what a trust is?
Yes.
Okay, so and you know who the Trust Buster was? That was
No, I didn't.
that was the original Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, right?
Okay.
So while his cousin is better known as the socialist for coming in and setting up the New Deal,
Yeah.
when Teddy was in office, there was a series of near monopolies that would work together in unison to fix markets in the United States.
Okay.
And those are called trust because
Okay.
they should be competitions, but they're working in unison with each other.
Yeah.
So he came in and he broke these companies up. So probably the most famous recent example of trust busting would be the Bell Phone Company. Remember, it was split into North. It was Southeastern Bell when I grew up.
Okay.
So that's the old school form of trust busting. I'm gonna bring this up later when I talk about Alex Jones
Okay.
and the whole social media thing, because we see what would be competitors colluding.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So
Right on. And, you know,
All right.
we call FDR a social democrat.
yeah. Well, I didn't really mean socialist. Like
Okay.
people call him a socialist. You know?
Yes. Yeah. Well, did you see that? It's funny, and I won't drag this on for the intro on for too long. That Donald Trump Jr. was calling the Democratic platform Nazi. It's a Nazi platform.
If he were to say like it's a pre-Marxist platform, I could throw him a bone. But
But
what?
that's what I was saying. I was like, please, as an insider looking in, can you guys keep your demonizing of the other team straight? You're the Nazis. They're the communists. Come on.
Well, I mean, like you have to admit that the narrative right now is that, like, the Democrats are the real racists. They're the real Nazis. That's the right wing narrative at the
Is it?
moment.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. I didn't
Well,
know
well, you know, hey, I'm at work today, and a couple of black guys that I work with cornered me into dropping some red pills on them.
that.
Like I'm just walking by, and they asked me some questions about credit, like
Okay.
credit scores, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm explaining, like, he's like, hey, when I apply for an apartment, are they going to run my credit? And I was like, most assuredly, sir. Everything you do, when you apply for some jobs, they run your credit. And he goes, this is the guy I told you that is like super racist.
Okay.
Okay, so it's that guy and one other nice gentleman from a nice family, preacher's son and all that type of thing. So he goes, I heard that white people are born with better credit. And I was like, no. White people tend to have better credit, and they tend to have it younger. And I was like, partially because they tend to be better off, but secondly because they tend to know how credit works. Like, you see how you're like 20 something, and I just explained to you how credit works. Like, I was told by my family when I was young, man.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "What are you trying to say? That white people are smarter?" And I said no. I mean, I was adopted by a family. My mother's a business owner. She explained it to me, but you like black families tend to be split up, you know. And he goes, what does that matter? And I was like, well, that's not just one less person in your life not raising you and not giving you information like this and leading you through life, but it's their entire family. It's your would-be aunts and uncles, would-be cousins, would-be grandparents. They're all gone. All that support and all that information is absolutely gone. And then he goes to why do you think that's happening? You think like black families just don't stay together? And I was like, well, divorce is rising in both communities quite a bit. I think it's like 70% in the black community right now, and 60% kids grow up without their fathers, without the biological father in the home.
I heard that it's like 75% of all marriages fail.
That's marriages fail, but children that are like not living with their biological father.
Okay.
I don't know that that's the same statistic, but
Okay.
it's obnoxiously high, and it's higher in the black community.
Yeah. Okay.
And so the reason I give is, well, like, women are incentivized to leave their husbands by the laws that we have right now, right? So if you're in the upper or middle class, like alimony is the guaranteeing of your lifestyle and your current economic situation as a wife. So you've had this lifestyle and you're guaranteed that lifestyle, and you can leave your husband. So why would they want to negotiate with the husband? if the state would just make them give them the money and they can get rid of the guy and they're almost guaranteed to keep your kids.
Yeah.
And if you're not in the middle or upper class and he doesn't have that money, you can still get him for child support. You won't get alimony, but the state will give what little you were getting anyway, right? They'll give you WIC, they'll give you food stamps, they're Section 8 housing, that type of thing. So the government makes it very, very easy for women to just replace their husband.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you know what? Well, fuck. Like, a woman can divorce her husband, get child support from him, and then marry another man, and now she's got a new man taking care of her, and the old man still has to pay for the fucking kids.
Yeah,
like it's a sweet deal. It's a sweet deal. So, like, if you incentivize people, they're going to take the incentives. You know, and I said, so which was the family? Like, who's against these like growing welfare programs? It's the people that you think hate you, but. I mean, it's I don't. Am I crazy here, Dave? Have I jumped the shark?
No, I don't think you're crazy, but I think that like there are some people that take advantage of the system like that, but sometimes there's just guys are shitty and they leave.
Well, sure. Sometimes guys are shitty and they should go, right? But there's less incentive to try to negotiate and work things out when the government says, "I tell you what, if you guys are happy, you can just walk away, and honey, don't worry about it. We'll make sure you're fine." Like sure. It used to be that if you threw your husband out, or if he got tired of your shit and left, right? So, and of course, some people just leave. But let's not look at those. Like, it was a problem for you. How are you gonna eat long term? How are you gonna take care of yourself? Yeah. Like you're definitely going to drop in the social economic stand by losing your husband, when now you're guaranteed almost not to by law.
Yeah, but if you go back to the way that it was before, then they're forced to stay in shitty relationships. I'm
not saying that we should go back to the way things are before.
Well, I'm not saying that you were. I'm just giving.
Yeah. I just think that somewhere in between, I don't think that we should end no-fault divorces, but I think that if you have a no-fault divorce, there should be much less likelihood of things like alimony. You know, like if you're just deciding to walk away, well, I'm just not happy, I'm leaving. Does he beat you? No. Is he cruel? You know, no. Does he sleep around? No. I'm just not happy, I'm leaving. Well, then why should you get shit?
Well, this is why when you couple with somebody that has a fucking JOB.
What's a JOB? Oh, JOB?
JOB, yeah.
Okay, JOB. I thought you said GOB. I'm like, gob? No. A job.
Yeah,
fine.
My Canadian accent.
A job.
A career.
Yeah, a job.
Like, you don't like, and unless you're rich, you have to have a double income family. If you want to have kids and an actual life, you need to have a double, like that the days of the husband trucking off to his fucking blue collar job and the wife staying home is gone.
Nor am I advocating for that. Yeah. So I'm not advocating for that either.
But I'm just saying. So if they have a job, then they don't need alimony.
Just because they don't need it doesn't mean they don't get it. Because once again, Dave,
I would cancel.
The point of alimony is to, like, if a woman has gotten accustomed to a certain lifestyle, it is the ex-husband's responsibility to maintain that for them.
Okay.
So if you, like, dude, if you get these payments and then you end up losing your nice job and can't find it, they don't give a fuck, man.
Yeah.
It's not about what you make. It's about the lifestyle you had before.
Well, here the man can get alimony.
Well, the man can get alimony here as well. My mother was a business owner, and her husband was a truck driver.
Yeah.
And when they divorced, she owed him money. She had to pay him alimony money.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Well, it's stupid
to me.
Like
that's just fucking wrong to me. It's just
sexist, but I can't imagine a guy like actually going to the court and saying, "Make that woman give me money." Like,
it's lawyers. It's lawyers.
Yeah.
You get in the divorce courtroom and things get wild. Let's be honest.
That's true. All right, let's get off of this fucking.
Sorry, I know. I say short intro and then off I go.
And then you fucking so you got kicked off of Facebook again.
I did. talking about Alex Jones and the whole thing. You know, start rolling Alex Jones clip. Fuck it. This is the first segment.
All right.
It's muted, right? Yeah. All right. So, anyone listening, Alex Jones pretty much was kicked off of all of the websites all at once. Everything but his own website. So, Facebook.
Are you kidding?
Are you kidding? Facebook.
I apologize. Yeah.
Pretty sure this is his wife calling, guys. So Alex Jones was kicked off of all the platforms: Facebook, Stitcher, YouTube, and of course, YouTube is a subsidiary of Google. Several websites, even like Pinterest. Did you know Alex Jones is on Pinterest? His Pinterest was shut down, Dave.
No, I did not know that he was on Pinterest.
His LinkedIn was shut down.
Crazy.
LinkedIn is how you like connect to people with your. Yeah, okay. His MailChimp was shut down. What is MailChimp? I don't know. I don't know. So I'm trying to think where to go here, Dave. So, and it all happened within first the major companies hit him in the first 24 hours.
Yeah.
All of them overnight.
Yeah.
Okay. And then these minor companies hit him the next day.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, there's a mass of mainstream media like Huffington Post, Time Magazine, like these type of New York Times articles coming out justifying and explaining why Alex Jones should be banned. And it just bothers me. He stepped away again.
Yeah, you keep talking. You can keep talking. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we're having a conversation. Yeah. So not only
did my dog was trying to get at an animal in the backyard. I apologize.
Fair enough. So not only did these major social media and distribution services, YouTube is these platforms, but then the modern ones, and at the same time, all these major publications come out and justify it to the public why it's okay.
Mm-hmm. So the minor ones. So like, excuse me, for my ignorance on this, I didn't really like look into it too hard, but so the major ones like Twitter, Facebook. LinkedIn.
Not Twitter.
Not Twitter?
Not Twitter.
Okay.
Only one that didn't.
Okay. But Facebook, YouTube.
Yes.
Yes. LinkedIn.
Yes.
Yeah. Pinterest, because they're a big one, right?
Yeah.
So they did it all at once at the same time. Bam. He's down.
Yes. Bam. Right? Goes down. Gone. Yes. And their claim is that it's just so happens to be that terms of service. And when they ask what terms of service, see, a lot of people think it's like the Sandy Hook conspiracies and things, but what they actually cite is hate speech against trans people and immigrants. So he's and he says things like it's all part of the globalist conspiracy to bring in the immigrants and and the transgenders are just trying to take masculinity away from America, so make it easier to fall when the globalists come in. That's he says these type of crazy things. Mm-hmm. And that's why they're claiming to take him down, is that he's speaking out against immigration and against trans people. Dave, don't we talk about these subjects quite a bit, sometimes in a less than positive tone.
Sure. Not about
trans. Well, the way they're pushing it on the youth, the way you have juiced up women and men competing in women's sports.
Yes.
Beating up on high school girls.
Yeah.
It's not fair. It's not fair, man.
Yeah, but
outside of that, we don't.
But hang on now. We're not saying that. I don't say that the transgenders like are trying to feminize America, so
no,
the globalists
Look,
come in and fuck you in the ass. Like I don't.
No,
you know, like,
he's clearly to the right and to the conspiracy side of us, Dave.
Yeah.
But just because we're barely on the inside of the window right now, doesn't mean we would be in the future.
Yeah. But so here's my thing with it. It's like I don't think people, as long as he's not like calling for actual violence on people, I don't think you can shut anybody. Like I don't think you should shut anybody down. And there's a few reasons for that, right? Because I personally don't want to be shut down. So just say like a ultra far right conservative owned Facebook or one of the other groups that I was on, and I start defending Big Black Gay Dave on Facebook against some bigot, and they cancel me from it just because I don't line up with their ideology. You know,
right?
That's one reason. Another reason is because now people are going to believe Alex Jones.
You know what? I screenshot this on my phone because I think it hit the nail right on the head. Yeah. My dad is an Alex Jones listener.
Yes.
I know, Dave. Contain your surprise. Imagine my shock. Yeah. My dad is Alex Jones listener. Yeah. So like the day it happens, it happens overnight.
Yeah.
Wake up the next day, he posts on Facebook, "Why can't I watch Alex Jones' video on YouTube?" And I was like, well, they've been kicked off of YouTube, and YouTube is owned by Google and Facebook and Stitch. I go through the whole thing with him, and he goes, "This just confirms what I think about liberals. That they just want to silence everybody. They want to shut down the opposition, and you know what definitely isn't going to prove people that think there's a globalist conspiracy. You know what's not going to shake them out of it?
Yeah,
all the major corporations coming together to silence their favorite fucking icon.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you think it's going to help people, you think that guys like Zuckerberg, parentheses, like you're not helping your conspiracy theories. You're not. You're making it worse.
And my third point would be is like, I like my crazies where I can see them out in the open, talking all their crazy bullshit, so I can keep an eye on it and know what he's saying. If you push him into a dark corner where nobody's watching, just wait until the shit that comes out of his mouth.
Well, I'm trying to think where to go. So what if they end up pushing Alex Jones out? What's going to happen is somebody that's slightly less crazy than Alex Jones, somebody that's slightly towards the center, somebody that's slightly less conspiracy theorist, they'll come up in his wake. And then, well, this guy is just like Alex Jones, right? So this is how the window starts shrinking. That's how the window starts shrinking. And you know what? People are it's small, but people are saying, well, why not Joe Rogan next?
Yeah, that's insane. And so Google hasn't taken him off of.
Google hasn't like scrubbed him from their search results, and they haven't taken down his app. Which, by the way, his app the next day become the #1 trending download.
Is his app free or does it cost money?
It's free.
But he makes advertising money off that app, I would assume.
He does make advertising. Well, and he sells supplements, and he has a subscription service. I know people that don't listen to Alex Jones that just started giving him money.
Really?
Just on principle, yeah.
That's crazy.
Like, I would agree with you that it's crazy, but it's absolutely thing. I want to give a short read in this article here where they're calling for the silence of Joe Rogan.
Okay.
And this is and you're not going to be surprised by this. Look at Jones screaming. You're not going to be surprised. God, I love him, man. And here's the thing. I used to be a conspiracy theorist.
Okay.
You know who broke me of it?
Who? Joe Rogan?
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones?
Alex
okay.
Jones. Alex Jones. Yes, man. I started listening to Alex Jones, and I was like, fuck, no. I gotta go. It really was, man. But my first podcasts were like Joe Rogan and Alex Jones and Sam Harris and like the Skating 80s. Anyway, this article is called "It's Time to End the Joe Rogan Experience." It is from MediaFileDC.com, which is not a very popular. It's not like the Huffington Post or anything, but the argument that's made. Throughout his 30-year career in entertainment, Joe Rogan has earned a legion of fans as the host of Fear Factor, the voice of the UFC, and through his appearance on Mad TV. But despite these roles, they didn't mention his... Anyway, he's mostly known as the host of the highly successful Joe Rogan Experience podcast, which is the 8th most downloaded podcast of any category. In the years since his podcast debuted, Rogan has become one of the most influential celebrities in the United States. That's true. With Rolling Stones naming him the 21st century Timothy Leary. While many would claim that Joe Rogan's podcast is pure entertainment, Rogan's rhetoric and choices of whom he associates his podcast with are harmful to his listeners and promote hysteria among his audience. You mean like Buzz Aldrin was on there? Neil deGrasse Tyson? Sam Harris is a regular guest. Like a lot of...
Well, these people would say Sam Harris.
These people would say Sam Harris.
Yeah.
But they and by the way, I've been listening to Joe Rogan now for like 5 or 6 years, and he's been big for about 2 or 3 years now. So I listened to him before he was like a phenomenon, before his podcast was. Long time listener. In the years since his podcast debuted, Rogan has become one of the most influential celebrities. Okay, sorry. Throughout his podcast history, he, along with various guests, have constantly discussed and have given credence to various conspiracy theories. That's a mischaracterization, and you know it. He does not constantly talk about conspiracy theories.
No.
Rogan has proclaimed on his podcast that he believed that the Apollo astronauts did not land on the moon. This is something he's retracted, Dave.
Yeah, I know.
He had a debate with Tyson. Well, anyone that might
he had a discussion with Tyson.
He had a discussion with Tyson, and then later changed his mind. Didn't change his mind then, but he changed his mind later. That the United States government was behind the assassination of John F. Kennedy, which is when he's backed off of. He just says it's weird, and I say it's weird, man. It's weird. It's weird, Dave.
We talked about it last week. It's weird.
There's some weird facts on it. Yes, sir. I will move on. The government found aliens in Roswell, New Mexico. He hasn't talked about aliens in years. In addition,
he's done with that.
Years and years. In addition, Rogan has spent countless hours dissecting the September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center. That's not true.
Nope.
Nope. And once again, maybe not in 5 years.
Yeah.
Providing various theories to whom was truly behind the attacks, and even saying, quote, "I've got to go with controlled demolition. If I had to, one way or the other, absolutely don't know. But I would not be surprised if it was proven that it was controlled demolition." By giving legitimacy to these conspiracy theories, amongst others, Rogan is encouraging the quote fake news movements, and is essentially telling his audience not to trust anything that is generally accepted as true. That is not what Joe Rogan says at all. No. Rogan, whether he is aware of it or not, is promoting alt-right figures and their ideology through his podcast. His list of guests include Alex Jones, bam, guilt by association. Milo Yiannopoulos, once again, gay Jew, married to, was on the show twice.
And Joe Rogan coaxed out of him this whole pedophile thing that happened.
It's like his time on the second appearance really ruined his career. Yes. It really ruined Yiannopoulos. As far as that goes,
you should thank Joe Rogan like that. Yes. That person, if they think Milo is a bad person, they should thank Joe Rogan. And
as far as that goes, Rogan argued with him quite a bit.
Yeah.
Rogan and Steven Crowder, who was just like an ordinary big C conservative.
They had a blowout.
Yes, they did. They agreed mostly. They really had a blowout over weed.
Yeah.
Which they still make jokes about Joe Rogan and weed on the Louder with Crowder to this day.
Okay.
Rogan disclosed his fondness of Alex Jones in a discussion with Steven Crowder by saying he's an interesting and entertaining person. That description is a seal of approval. Entertaining. No, it's not. To a man who he also says that Alex Jones is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
He says that all the time.
Yeah.
Rogan is playing right into the alt-right's hand by promoting a platform. You see how this works. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then who's just to the inside of Joe Rogan? And then who's just to the inside of that person?
Yeah.
That's how this goes. Because once you bust Joe Rogan, all right, who is his guest list?
But how come this person doesn't mention the fact that like 50% of the guests are left-leaning?
He has Abby Martin on there regularly.
Yeah.
Like RT, like Russian TV host of the Empire Files, fucking far left. He has a bunch of them.
And a bunch of Hollywood people who are all left-leaning.
Yes.
Black people, Hispanic people, white people, young people, old people, musicians.
He recently, he's to the left of us on things like immigration.
Yes.
So he just had.
He seems like he's an open border guy.
He's not quite an open border guy, but he's somewhere pretty close. Mm-hmm. He just had a guy that snuck across and to tell his story. It wasn't planned, but it happened on the show. Tell about how it was a game that he thought it was a game when he was a kid. Him and his mother, they'd go back, like they'd get caught and sent back, and his fucking aunt would be like, "Ha ha ha! They caught you, sent you back." Anyway, and they were separated. And he's like, they gave me food and we watched cartoons, and then when they put us back together and sent us home. Anyway, and this was fucking 20 years ago, Dave. Mm-hmm. So it's not some new thing going on. No. Anyway, back to Alex Jones. Back to Alex Jones. This is what bothers me, man, and this is what should make everyone's sphincter pucker. Is that all of these companies work together in a collusion to kick someone off? Okay, they give very vague reasons why. The media supports them, and there's nothing any government entity can do. Nothing.
Yeah.
So can you imagine you're having a phone call, okay, and then AT&T or whatever decides to cut your phone service because you're swearing too much, but because you're talking about conspiracy theories, because and we have to understand what the internet is now. And what these platforms are. How much of your information comes through Facebook, Dave? How like the articles that you read? Oh,
probably more than half.
Right. Me too. A vast majority. And then the rest, like you Google we Googled all of tonight's links. Mm-hmm. All these articles. Everything comes to like. Most of this show comes from Facebook and YouTube and Google, and these companies can come together and decide, you know what, this person doesn't have a voice, and they really don't have to have a reason why, man. The terms of service are sufficiently imprecise enough. They're vague enough that pretty much anyone can get booted. I'm in a 30-day ban.
Yeah,
I'm arguing with my friend, my buddy Brandon, who's been on the show. He's saying that the right wing, like alt-right perspective has become normalized. And I was like, there is a very small right wing, like alt-right movement that can get a few thousand people to watch a video on YouTube, and they're all online, and they have no institutional power, right? But these kind of these semi-Marxist, feminist, progressives, they have half the Democratic Party right now growing. Okay, they have all the institutions. They have Hollywood, which is the mouthpiece of the culture. They have a lot of power. They have these corporations that decide who does and does not get a say politically.
So and they have a lot of power and influence.
Yes, both. Yeah. Google's been on to Google curates your search results.
Of course they do.
They would push people back to the second or third page. So to say that some company can come up and compete, okay, no one can compete against YouTube. And there's a couple of reasons why. One is that Google owns YouTube. Well, both of them are because Google owns YouTube. YouTube hasn't made money in years, Dave. YouTube runs at a loss. YouTube runs at a loss, and Google pays for it out of their pocket, for one.
Why?
For two, why? Because of the power they have.
Yeah.
It's powerful, Dave. They have the culture by the balls.
Yeah. Okay.
They really do. And then two, Google decides who gets on the first, second, and third page, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody like Gab AI comes up, someone like Bing comes up, or they can just push them down. They can just push them down the search results, and you know that everyone is just going to use Google.
Yeah, for sure.
That's not going to change anytime soon.
I don't think that this is going to silence him. I think this is going to make him bigger than ever.
Yes, the Strangton effect is definitely on his side, but it's not on the side of much smaller people. And there hasn't been like a mass ban against any small people that I know of, right? Yeah. But smaller up and coming people get pushed out of platforms all the time.
Yes.
Okay, Alex Jones is going to benefit from this. Most people. The future leader of political discourse could very easily be just pushed off the internet before they ever get started, he or she.
Yeah.
Right. That's where we're at now, and we have to understand what these platforms represent. Now, I'm not saying the government's picking them up.
He can go to Yahoo, though, right?
You can go to Yahoo, but then Yahoo has that power.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I mean Alex Jones himself. Like, he could go to
Yahoo. Well, I don't know what you mean by go to Yahoo. Yahoo doesn't have a video service like YouTube or anything for search results. And Google isn't scrubbing him from their searches yet. And they haven't taken him off of their Play Store, his app, yet. Okay. Although there are calls right now from the progressive left to remove him from the App Store as well, as he is the #1 trending app. I'll tell you what, the only company that has a shot at YouTube is a company named BitChute.
Okay.
Right. So it's like this weird hybrid. It's like YouTube meets a torrent website. Meets a Bitcoin generator.
Okay.
Like while you watch their videos, they set you up as a torrent host. You know how torrents work? So instead of them hosting, they host, but instead of them serving it out while you're watching a video, other people can be served from your computer rather than from their hardware. Okay. So it cuts down their cost quite a bit. And they also borrow some of your computing power to run Bitcoin mining to fund it instead of advertising. So that may be the future of the internet right there. Like if BitChute makes it, which they doubled or tripled in size and since Alex Jones was kicked. Wow. BitChute.
Because he's on BitChute.
Because he's on there. It's decentralized, but because it's based through torrent, rather than through their servers. Exactly. I'll tell you, if anyone's interested, look up Styx Hexenhammer 666. Like, he has a really good understanding of BitChute's ways, like opportunity to take over the market right now. Kick back that video so it keeps rolling on us, Dave.
Okay.
So a few people have made calls for what they're calling a digital bill of rights.
Okay.
So the internet is becoming extremely powerful, and the major companies that run it have an enormous amount of power. There's sort of powers that governments have. Like, we're democracy, and they can now control the conversation. That means they control the democracy, Dave. Like, Google and Facebook and YouTube and Twitter can undermine our democracy. There's about a dozen billionaires within a 50-mile radius of each other that control the conversation of the world.
Yeah, and the other thing is, like, it's not just that they can manipulate it, but people can manipulate those platforms to manipulate us.
Right. And as far as that goes, they've been known to work with the government. Like, the government, the information that they gather, they just give over.
Yeah.
Right. So for the and then they turn around and claim to be a public company, which by the way, all of these companies have giant government subsidies from taxpayers as well.
Yes.
When they were starting up. Not just now, but when they were starting up, the original servers for a lot of these were government subsidized. San Francisco had a, quote, Twitter tax break. and offered them like millions, billions, like a $58 billion tax break, or was it million? Whatever, a lot of money.
Amazon,
Yes,
which is now a giant internet thing as well. They're looking for their second headquarters. There's 20 cities left in the running. Toronto's one of them. Toronto's the only city that's not offering them direct cash. Newark, New Jersey is offering the most, $6 billion to come and build their second headquarters in the city. $6 billion just to come there. It's insane.
Well, you know, a lot of cities give Walmart a tax break to bring a Walmart to their town. They're giving like you won't pay taxes for the first 10 years and shit like that. Anyway, so the government can manipulate these. Other can manipulate these. We need something that guarantees a free and open internet.
Yeah.
And it's funny to me that it's people that were just crying, the left was crying super hard for free and open internet like 3 months ago or 6 months ago, Dave, right?
Yeah,
but they're very happy to see. Right, but they don't give a fuck about an actual free and open internet, do they?
No.
A free and open internet has Alex Jones.
Yes.
I'm sorry. So we need something to secure communication. We need something to secure free speech. We need something to secure the right to congregate. What's the difference between congregating, you know, in front of a shopping mall or any number of places? Like we have a right to congregate in the United States.
We have a right to do that.
But right. So like not only do you have a right to speak, but people have a right to hear that speaker, and that was just taken away from a lot of people, man.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't have the technical skills to like. I had to go get links from my dad.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just. I get that they're private companies, but it's not the same as a baker. Because everyone brings up that example, it's not the same as a baker. It's not the same as you, Dave. You have a couple employees. You have no power, man. And frankly, you're quite regulated, aren't you? The government steps in quite a bit in your job, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course.
They take money from you. They tell you what you can and can't build and how you can build it.
Of course.
Right, but because it's a matter of public interest.
Yes.
So is open dialogue.
Yeah. But
Am I crazy? Push back on me, Dave. Give me something.
I don't see. Okay, like I can see the cake thing that they're bringing that into it because, but in my eyes, I would say that Alex Jones isn't really like. He's not directly singling out. Like I don't agree with your government for saying that the guy wasn't being discriminatory when he said that he wouldn't bake the cake. I think he was completely being discriminatory, and if it was a black person that he said no to baking the cake for, he wouldn't have been allowed to get away with that at all. But because they're gay and those judges are Christian, the baker got away with it. But I don't see as Alex Jones centering out two people.
This is the weird thing. This is the weird thing about the baker to me, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
The baker told them that they would sell them a wedding cake. They just wouldn't decorate a wedding cake for them. So it's not refusing service. It's almost like could I compel you to make me a Nazi cake? Could I go into a Jewish bakery and compel them to make me a swastika cake? Like it's. I know that's extreme.
That's not.
No,
it's not a straight line equivalency there, though.
No, it's not a straight line. But what I mean is, it's something a little less than providing a service, and something a little closer to compelled speech. You know, because
but hang on 1 second. Would you be comfortable with a baker being allowed to tell a black couple, "I'll bake you a cake, but I ain't putting no black dolls on it"? Would you be comfortable with that?
No.
Okay.
No.
If you accept the fact, hang on, let me finish. The reason being is because, as you and everybody else knows, you're born the way that you're born. So if you accept the fact that gay people are born the way that they are, there's no difference in a baker saying, I won't put 2 boys on a cake and I won't put 2 black people on a cake. There's no difference.
I would say the only difference is the religious compulsion of it. Like there's no religious. You've never been religious, Dave. Just let me finish this. Yeah. There's no religious compulsion to hate black people.
That's not true. That's not true. That is not true. Mormons.
Where in the Bible?
Mormons.
Oh, you know what? Fair enough, man. And the government stepped in and told them they had to let blacks in. So fair enough, man. It's just like I think non-religious people.
Let me jump to Alex from that now, okay?
Okay, yeah.
So
go back.
So I would be comfortable with telling the baker that he had to put 2 boys on a cake. I'm comfortable with that. But he directly discriminated against 2 people, probably when they walked in, shook hands, got to know their names. Alex just throws fucking shit out there.
That's true.
He's not saying you fucking you trans person.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like
he's not making any of these companies do anything particular either. Like they don't have to promote him. They don't have to agree with him. They don't have to make anything. They don't have to do anything different for him than they do for anyone else, right? They don't even have to put shit on the cake. They just have to bake a cake and give it to you, goddammit.
Yeah.
And they're denying him that.
Yeah.
Because either because they find his, once again, if he is satire, then they are finding his political satire, which is speaking against power. Against right-wing power, if he's satire, they're either censoring art or they're censoring a legitimate political discussion, whether you agree or not.
Now, let me bring this in, okay? They are their own companies, though.
They are.
So, at what point then do we compel the companies? Should we be in the future or starting from now separating the social media companies from regular companies and intertwining them with speech, with speech rights,
so
with your identity rights? Should we be doing that?
So what I think we should do is just like the Bill of Rights is designed to restrict government power and ensure freedoms of the individuals. I think that we need a digital Bill of Rights to limit the power of all internet companies and to ensure the freedom of the individuals in that digital space rather than a physical space.
Okay.
So, and I think that we should use the principles of the original Bill of Rights to set up the second one. So you should have a right to congregate. You should have a right to speech. Like I don't have them all worked out, right?
Yeah.
The point is that we need to ensure a free and open internet and not just ISPs and throttle rates.
Yes.
Right. That is only a tiny fraction of how the internet is free and open.
Yes. And for me, the only way that you should be shut down is if you're actually calling for violence.
Yes.
So if Alex Jones was calling for people to attack trans people, or if he was calling for people to fucking attack the queen because she's a fucking lizard person, then obviously he needs to be dealt with by law accordingly, right?
Agreed. Agree. So and once again, that does. The Bill of Rights agrees with that. So the digital Bill of Rights would agree with that as well, right? You can't compel people to violence in the physical space, then you shouldn't be able to compel people to violence in the digital space. If you can't force silence in the physical space, you shouldn't be able to force silence in the digital space. That would be the idea.
Yes.
That would be the idea. And frankly, these platforms are they're damaging themselves, but then again, they've got such a stranglehold that it doesn't matter.
No, sorry to interrupt you. I want to know something.
Go on.
Okay,
Go on.
as for somebody that you know, the internet didn't come around until I was already an adult. Basically, I was 17 or 18 years old. I didn't jump on it at first like everybody else did. I was out doing normal things. Is the backbone of the internet not government based? Like it was originally built by the American military, right?
That's right.
So like the infrastructure and the backbone of it, these companies are just piggybacking off of American technology and military, right? So
that's correct.
So then in essence, it does have a governmental component to it, right?
It does.
If the U.S. government wanted to, they could just shut down the internet, right?
Yes. As far as that goes, phone lines and
now they could.
Yeah. Phone line, which would actually shut down a lot of your internet too, because most of the internet is actually based out of the United States. Like how many .ca websites do you go to, Dave?
Not too many.
Yeah, a dozen. Yeah, okay.
But Yahoo has a .ca.
Right. Okay. Okay. Consider how much these American companies have over your political discourse.
Yes. No. Of course. Yeah. They do.
Right. So how do you feel about a foreign power having that? Well, wouldn't you feel better if our country would get control of these?
Yeah.
Right. We would not let any company with this amount of power go unchecked in the physical world.
No. Of course not.
And but this is the one thing that really bothers me about this, Dave, is that our government right now is run by boomers and aging Gen Xers, which is the people whose VCRs I have to get the timer right on.
Yes.
Because they still have VCRs.
Yes.
What do they know about the internet?
Well,
what do they know about the digital space?
Younger people need to run.
Well, the problem is that my generation. You don't really have a good head on your shoulders, man, until you're in your 30s, 40s.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
not
young
everybody. Some people are, you know.
Some people do, and I sure didn't. A lot of our founding fathers were actually quite young. Some of the authors were surprisingly young. So you have a point there, man. I fear our current leadership on either side getting to draft something like this. Like it has to be organic and come from the people, and I don't know how to go about it, man. But I'm really disheartened at the amount of people that actually support it.
Yeah, and the other thing too is like the only reason why they're kicking him off is because he has a big audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen people say way more crazy shit than Alex Jones, like on the internet, like. You can find fucking videos of guys chopping their own fucking dick off on the internet.
So, of course, the conspiracy rights narrative is that he's being shut down by the establishment and, by the quote unquote cabal. Yeah, the globalist cabal. The less conspiratorial, less not non-conspiratorial, but the less conspiratorial, kind of more centrist right. They see it as a collusion between the platforms and the aging media, like the New York Times, the Huffington Post. That Alex Jones is a great deal of competition for these people. CNN and so forth are trying to get they're losing employees, man. They're downsizing. Almost all of these who were leading thought, 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
They're losing money left and right, man. People like Alex Jones are cutting into their profit base quite a bit. So they theorize that it's a collusion between the media and and these platforms, to try to grow the legacy media's presence on the newer platforms to try to keep them in power.
I would think that it was just that, like the SJWs screeching, and I would consider like Google and the .com people in Silicon Valley and all those. I consider those people SJWs. A lot of them, and
they are
all the upper management at Google, and they just it was a bunch of screeching that got it. I think it's a conspiracy in the fact that they all got together and did it at the same time, because there's no way in hell a bunch of companies just do. Oh, today I'm gonna ban Alex Jones, and then they press their button. And everybody was at the same time. Look at me, I'm banning Alex Jones. Like, come on.
Yes. For one, move the mouse for me, Dave. See, it's got a. There you go. That's better.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, that bothers me, and the fact that they're lying about it. The fact that they're lying about it, Dave, shows that they know that they shouldn't be doing it. Mm-hmm. They know that people should be upset about it.
Yes.
And they're lying about it, or they wouldn't lie. Why lie unless there's a benefit? Mm-hmm. Okay, and so. A guy I know that makes satire told me that if he was saying stuff that crazy, he would want to be censored. And it fucking broke my heart, man. It broke my fucking heart.
Listen, he told a Sasquatch story that is way crazier than anything I've ever heard come out of Alex Jones' mouth.
Well, he told me, he goes, satire is supposed to be transparent, because I believe that Alex Jones is a mix of satire and what he really thinks. He's doing this blend, and I think he forgets.
Some days I'm not all together with. I think they told the courts that it was satire because it was convenient to tell the courts. You're going to tell the courts anything you can to get yourself off the hook. So I don't necessarily believe that he's like, I think the persona of Alex Jones, like the SUVs and the black helicopters and they're coming to your house and they're kicking, like, I think that part is a persona, but the actual conspiracy theories, I think he believes those.
Yes, when he's saying things like Obama and Hillary smell like sulfur, flies falling around. Mm-hmm. Okay, they eat dead babies. Like, I don't think he believes that. But does he believe that the FBI sends in agent provocateurs to create violence within political movements? Yeah, I think he believes that. Mm-hmm. Does he believe that there's a globalist agenda? Yes. Is he always honest about what he thinks that agenda is? Maybe. Mm-hmm. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't think that the old school. You know what? The point of satire is to be transparent to those that agree with you, but to fool those that don't. Okay, so the original piece of satire, as far as I'm aware, was called A Modest Proposal. Are you aware of this, Dave?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay, so this is when the Irish were starving, and this British novelist wrote a book saying that, if the Irish were to eat their children, okay, one, they would have fewer people to feed, and two, the people that eat them wouldn't be hungry anymore. Okay, so he's kidding.
Yes.
Okay, people take him seriously.
And the
book becomes No, they don't eat their babies. They don't sell it to the Irish, obviously. Okay. Like British people buy it. Okay, and people take him seriously, and he's like, "Fucking no. This is like the birth of modern satire. Okay. You're mocking them. Okay, so you don't know who Dick Masterson is, but he's my favorite satirist. Okay, anyone that happens to watch this, you don't know who he is. Google Dick Masterson, Dr. Phil. His original piece of satire that really burst him onto the scenes, he wrote a book called Men Are Better Than Women, opened up a website called Men Are Better Than Women, shaved his head, grew a big bushy fucking like 80s porn mustache, and went on Dr. Phil to talk about how men are better than women. He clips like this. He goes, "You want to know how you look to a woman?" He swipes his ATM card and spits out cash. This is how you look to women. An attractive woman doesn't have to learn how to do anything because a man will just do it for her. Right? Things like that. Mm-hmm. And he commits to the role so hard. You know, Dr. Phil had a reality show at one point where they would put people in a house to live together.
Really? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either, except that Dick Masterson made it into that cocksucking house. For 5 days, 24 hours a day, he played this role. And people bought it. And here's the thing. Does he believe what he says? Yes and no. Mm-hmm. That's the point. That's the point of the satire, is that it's an exaggerated version of the truth. And isn't that exactly what Jones is doing? Yeah. Sure. Right. So I love it. We did a whole bit on our old podcast. We were an atheist, where we fucking just lambasted Jones every week, or somebody like him. And that was my thing. And I did it because I was a fan. Mm-hmm. I'm a fan of the guy. He's reached meme lord status. If they can take him down without push, who can't they take down? On the periphery of society, they can take down anybody. He's giant. He gets 20 million hits a month, Dave.
Yeah. I guess.
And growing.
Yeah. I don't think they can fuck with Rogan, but I mean,
New York Times doesn't get the traffic he gets.
No.
Huffington Post doesn't get the traffic he gets. No, CNN doesn't get the traffic he gets.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of those views are just people going because he's fucking crazy as shit.
Yes.
Right? Like they just want to go and watch and check it out. I just think that you know this. I think that deplatforming has the complete opposite effect of what you're looking for, because you're not actually silencing the person. You're drawing attention to it, and it brings more people in.
Because he's famous. Because once again, it's the guys that's coming up though that won't get the Streisand effect. You know, if this show catches on, Dave, they can just shut us down.
Sure.
Kick us off everything. Boom, gone. And when we just have 10,000 people, when we just have 1 million people, when we just have 5 million people, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
Right. So that's what we're looking at. And I want to end it with this. ISIS still has YouTube channels and Facebook accounts and Twitter accounts. Okay. The National Enquirer still has Facebook accounts. Okay. They have a YouTube channel. Their magazines are still for sale. All right. Antifa has Facebook accounts. Antifa has YouTube channels. Right. But my point is, so it's interesting who they're choosing.
Yeah.
Interesting who they're choosing.
Yeah.
I want to. That's it, man. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take a quick break.
Yes, sir.
And I don't feel sorry for. Let me just say one real quick thing before. I don't feel sorry for Alex Jones, because I think he's going to be just fine with his listeners, but it's the smaller people that you're talking about.
Yeah. No, Jones will grow.
Yeah. Jones
has become a permanent cultural icon.
Yes.
And there's nothing anyone can do to remove Jones. It's the rest of us that are on the chopping block.
I'm curious as to where his. Sorry, excuse me. I'm curious to see where his video show winds up, like this InfoWars where he does this crazy routine. Like where would BitChute? That'll be his home.
Well, he still has PrisonPlanet.com.
Okay.
Which
so
is his original
website, and Google hasn't shut that down.
Well, and here's the thing: Google could push him down on the results,
okay.
You know, and that would cause him some harm.
Yeah.
What could really fuck him up is I don't know who hosts them, you know, GoDaddy or whatever, you know. Yeah. But they can just shut him down tomorrow if they decide to. Okay. They just haven't yet.
Okay.
So the what's it called? The actual serving companies, like the website hosting companies, haven't joined in this collusion yet. But okay. if they do, and here's the other thing about the private. This I know I said last thing. But it just occurred to me. You name one goddamn thing you can do on the internet without a private company being between you and your goal.
Well, you'd have to go to the dark web, I guess.
Yes, that's true, and there will always be some companies. And you know what? People are actually talking about. Well, I guess we'll congregate on the dark web now. And if you think that's a good thing, man, that's going to have the same. That's not that you would. That's the same thing as legalizing weed. So now you have to go buy weed from the heroin dealer. Like they would have never met that heroin dealer if you hadn't legalized weed, right? What they'll find on the dark web is truly horrific.
Yes.
Yeah. Fucking child porn and drugs and fucking guns, man. Like it's sick. All right, man. You want to put up a lost state of mind and take a little break here.
Called Trigger. It's by a friend of ours. Sorry, let me. I gotta get a little better at this technology shit. So, anyways, we're gonna take a quick break, and this is Trigger from A Lost State of Mind.
God, these people are so evil. Why can't America wake up and meet them? Donald Trump's not perfect, but he doesn't want to hurt you and your family. Hillary and Obama want to make you poor and pathetic. We have all their white papers. They hate you. They hate prosperity. They hate God. They hate children. And goddamn them to hell. We're going to find the lever to beat these people, and they're going to be beaten. Look at her shark face. Have to look at her with that demon face. That's a frickin' demon. We're going to have President Linda Blair, people, and I'm not going to go along with it.
knuckles through muddy waters. Chains are bound to my broken feet. A victory for my oppressors. Was there no warning sign for me? It's not how we envisioned. They're growing quite unkind. We failed our desperate missions and lost our fucking minds. You got
if that didn't play, you've muted yourself. Well, I didn't hear it. If those listening to the stream didn't hear it, apologies.
It played to me.
I'm 90% sure it did. Well, you're playing the file on your computer. Of course, you heard it.
All right.
I'm 90% sure it went out though. So I'll check that on the stream later.
So fucking amateur.
Yeah. Well, of course. This is really episode 3 of the new show. Dude, we might want to rename and everything, man. We got to consider.
Yeah.
No. It seems we've lost a host.
Yeah. So we might wanna. All right. Okay, so you have the article that I wanted to.
Yes. Let me find my phone, which I unplugged at some point. There it is.
And I want to grab that. Not device.
No. You don't have it. You already added it earlier, man. You have it muted. It's going to be image 6010. So it's the second one from the top.
Okay.
On your list. So leave that.
Okay.
Click the eye. The second one from the top. Click the eye to the left of it.
Okay, this one here. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, there we go. Perfect.
For anyone that might be watching, for those watching this, what you just saw pop on the screen is a terrorist threat.
Yes, it is. It's,
which it kind of does tie into our last segment, because guess who still has a Twitter account?
The fuckers that sent this.
And who sent this, Dave?
The government of Saudi Arabia.
And what is that image?
That is an image of an Air Canada flight heading towards the most iconic building in Canada, the CN Tower.
So, Saudi Arabia,
which is in the biggest city in Canada and right downtown. So, yeah.
Saudi Arabia just used an American company to threaten Canada.
With a 9/11 style terrorist attack.
With it, okay.
And
Twitter did what about it?
Nothing.
Now, to be fair, they haven't booted Jones yet. Jack from the owner of Twitter. I don't know his last name. Who cares? I don't think he's Jewish, so no one cares. Jack said that they're keeping a close eye on him. Oh. They said he hasn't broken any terms of service, but as soon as he does, we'll boot him.
Oh. There you go. So they don't just ban.
Anyway,
they don't just like ban you for 7 days or 30 days like Facebook does. There's Twitter jail. You go in and out of Twitter jail the same, but they can't just terminate you. Mm-hmm. Like the last 2 or 3 times I have been banned on Facebook, it says repeated offenders can be removed at Facebook's discretion. Okay. So look, man, next time I make a joke about on the election night, I said there's going to be, don't worry, there's not roaming gangs of pussy grabbers. I got banned for that. Okay, but here's the thing that makes this tweet, this threat, I don't want to say relevant, but like that they should be shutting them down, and what makes it so egregious is that it is North America, after all, and there were 15 Saudis on those planes that hijacked those planes in the United States. 15 Saudi citizens.
There's also far more evidence connecting them to Saudi Arabia than, let's say, Iraq or any of the other countries. Yeah, or any other country.
The money trail came from
Saudi Arabia. And Wahhabism, which is the main source of terrorist teachings, is also.
And that was born and raised in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
So it's. I'll let you read the article, and then we'll get into it.
Okay, this is from the Washington Post. Remember, Dave, democracy dies in darkness. Saudi Arabia cannot afford to pick fights with Canada. This is by Jamal Khashoggi. Khashoggi. Let's just go with that. Correction, an early version of this blog post had failure to attribute the tweet by Christian Diawin. This version has been updated. All right. In the past 48 hours, Saudi Arabia seems to have mistaken Canada, a member of the group of 7 in NATO, and a distinguished ally of many European nations, for the small Middle Eastern nation of Qatar, which Riyadh. Oh, I was close.
I think it's Rada. I don't know. Anyways, that's their capital.
Blockaded last June. Last week's arrest of Samar Badawi, the sister of imprisoned blogger Raif Badawi, led Canada's foreign minister to issue a statement in Arabic on its Twitter account that urged, quote, the Saudi authorities to immediately release her, along with fellow activist Nassami al-Saddah. If there was a drinking game where you drink every time we fucked up someone's name, you'd already be wasted. Already be wasted. It was this tweet that sparked the ire of Saudi authorities and propelled them into taking action. Saudi Arabia responded by recalling its ambassador in Ottawa, freezing trade relations, withdrawing Saudi students from Canadian schools, by Felicia, and even canceling flights between Saudi Arabia and Toronto.
It's pretty hard to do their terrorist attack now, isn't it?
Without any of their people here, yeah.
Or their planes, right?
On a quick note, I may or may not have allegedly sold a great number of MDMA pills to a Saudi student. You know, if they graduate high school, they can come to American University for free. Never mind, they're a rich country.
Wow.
This guy was fucking like from a loaded ass family. He had nice ass cars, and he was going to my university and my state for free, and we have to fucking pay to go there. But he bought a lot of.
They don't come here for free.
He might allegedly have bought a lot of MDMA though, so he's an okay guy. Okay. He's an okay guy with me. Okay. Last week's arrest. Excuse me. By recalling, withdrawing Saudi students and even canceling flights between Saudi Arabia and Toronto. Unless they took all of their citizens home too, Dave, they can still do exactly what they did to us.
Yeah. Hang on. There's some stuff. There's some stuff that this guy hasn't added to this. So obviously Saudi Arabia isn't like, I'm not going to say that they're like, they have a lot of money, they have oil, but they haven't exactly let Western medicine and all the other I guess technology from us into their country. So they send a lot of patients to the US and to Canada. So they've forced the patients that are sick in hospitals to leave Canada. They gave the students, which the school year was just about to start, 1 month, and they're here on scholarships from the Saudi government. So I doubt he's going to your school for free. What he means by free is that the Saudi government is paying for him to go to the university there, because it's actually the Saudi government that's paying for it. They're here on scholarships. So they've given him 4 weeks at the beginning of the school year to find a new program. If you're a third-year med student, or if you're what do they call it? The medical the med students that are in the hospitals that are training, interns or whatever you want to call them, that are almost done. You've got to upload and try to find another medical school to go to that quick. It's not really that feasible. They gave our ambassador 24 hours to leave their country, or what? Are you gonna fucking behead him in the streets? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. And then they've also decided that they're gonna sell off all Canadian assets. To which I reply, so fucking what? Anyways, go ahead.
Okay, I'm pretty sure that
Like it may be in your country, but in our country, they're here on scholarship. From
yeah, I'm pretty sure you have me interested now. Connecting people changing the NASA. Scholarship brings record number of Saudi students to the United States. In 2012, which I'm talking about 2013, 14. In 2012, the United States saw a record number of Saudi Arabia students enrolled in academic institutions around the country. The vast majority of these students are able to come to the United States as recipients of scholarships from the King Abdullah Scholarship Program, KSP. The program was developed. Hold on. After President George W. Bush and the Crown Prince had met to discuss ways of erasing tensions, encouraging cultural understanding. The program, into which Saudi government has made significant financial investments. It's both countries has gone exponentially. So both countries put money into it.
Okay.
Okay.
In our country, though, they just pay for their students to come. And,
right.
And we're not talking about 4 students. We're talking about 15,000 students.
Yeah. No. This is wonderful Bush era politics. Okay. So when Canada's embassy in the capital city tweeted its government statement in Arabic, Saudi officials saw it as a challenge to national sovereignty on domestic social media, which has increasingly become the battleground to control national public opinions and promote hypo-nationalism. It's almost like everything I said in the last segment is true, Dave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That this is kind of like the new phone line.
Yes.
Like them tweeting that is no different than picking up the red phone, as they used to call it, and calling like one leader to another. It's the same shit now.
But the difference is though is that the world sees it, and Saudi Arabia got embarrassed because they got told to clean up their bedroom, and then after they didn't like being told that, they threw a temper tantrum like a pestilent 4-year-old.
Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman told his initials, known by his initials, MBS, is signaling that any open opposition to Saudi domestic policies, even ones as egregious as the punitive arrest of reform-seeking Saudi women, is intolerable. The West should not ignore human rights abuses in the Arabic world, but its indifferences to the cruelty of Arabic regimes in Syria and Egypt, where hundreds of thousands have been killed or imprisoned, has encouraged the spread of authoritarian rule in countries that once had a restrained appetite for pursuing such policies. Presently, Saudi citizens no longer understand the rationale behind the relentless wave of arrests. These arbitrary arrests are forcing many into silence, and a few others have even quietly left the country to the capital. Vigorously defending Saudi Arabia's sovereignty means, quote, using punitive measures against transnational civil society groups and the countries that support them. Tweeted Kristen Dewan. If you don't want to be part of the modern world, dude, fucking dip out and go back to the 4th century.
Mm-hmm. I
swear to God, man. You like, I hate that everyone's on their tit. I really do. A senior resident scholar at the Arab Gulf State Institute in Washington. Of course, there is a better way for the kingdom to avoid Western criticism. Simply free human rights activists and stop the unnecessary arrests that have diminished the Saudi image, and the crucifixions.
Yes.
And the beheadings.
Yep.
And the stonings.
Yep.
And hanging the gays.
Yep.
But you know what? But what makes the headline, Dave? They can drive now.
Yes.
Women can drive now.
Yes.
And
you know what I consider? Like everybody praising them because women can drive. It's like those fucking dads that say, "I take care of my kids." No fucking shit you take care of your kids. You're fucking kids. It's not a fucking clapping moment. No shit women can drive. You fucking assholes.
You have the same like psychological thing going on that you get with a lot of people and Trump. You know, like I mean, I expected worse from him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so people are like, I mean, fuck, it's improvement. It can be a lot worse. I mean, congratulations. I didn't think you'd get this far. So it's...
Yeah.
It's kind of, yeah.
Doing so will salvage, not doing all these problems. Doing so will all these fucking horrible human rights abuses. Just kick me around. Boop boop. Doing so will salvage what is left of the reputation that the Crown Prince worked so hard to build during his multi-week tour of Europe and the United States earlier this year. Saudi Arabia simply cannot afford to alienate any other sections of the global community in the midst of its unpopular military engagement in Yemen. I don't even know about that. Its indirect confrontation with Iran. Most importantly, Saudi Arabia's economic transformation requires more friends than enemies. For MBS to achieve the economic and transformative vision that he espoused on his foreign tour, he needs to use ways and means that investors are accustomed to. If business executives fear a backlash over any possible criticism regarding their investment, the new vision of Saudi Arabia would be in serious jeopardy. Instead of lashing out at Canada, shouldn't we ask why peace-loving Canada has turned against us? We Saudi citizens need to see the bigger picture. Fuck yeah, you do. You know what? This lady sounds like she needs a good stoning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and in progressive Saudi Arabia, she'll get a good teaspoon of water first.
Yep.
Instead of lashing out at Canada, shouldn't we ask why peace-loving Canada has turned against us? We Saudi citizens need to see the bigger picture. Canada raised a flag against human rights abuses in Saudi Arabia. Surely we cannot arbitrarily arrest female activists and expect the world to turn a blind eye. Criticism of the Middle East should not be directed only at Saudi Arabia. Human rights abuses are happening throughout the Arab world. For example, Egypt has jailed 60,000 opposition members. Wow. And is deserving of criticism as well. The slaughter of innocent civilians in Syria and Yemen should also be highlighted, not because criticism is unfair to Saudi Arabia, but because failing to criticize creates an atmosphere that empowers authoritarian rulers to deny civil rights to their own people. Many Arabs who seek freedom, equality, and democracy feel defeated. They have been portrayed as traitors by pro-government media and abandoned by the international community. Canada stand, therefore, restores their hope that someone out there does indeed still care. Oh, shit, man.
Well, yeah, well, our allies certainly, or I will put this in quotation marks, sure haven't. I want to take one issue with what the person said. The people get the misconception of Canada being I would say that most Western countries like peace more than they like going to war. But this idea that Canada is a pacifist country is the most one of the most what do you call that? It's one of the most overblown parts of the stereotype of the Canadian. My family's been here for 40 years. Maybe there's 5 years that we haven't been in directly fighting in a war since I've been here. Since my family arrived here in 1978, there's maybe 4 or 5 years that we aren't directly fighting in a war. So let's just take it easy on that. And if Saudi Arabia really wants to get fucking squirrely, you can come over here and you won't like what you find when you get here. Okay? We'll send our fucking right-wing militias, our heavily armed militias that are fucking up north in Quebec just waiting for fucking Muslims to come. They're heavily armed. They don't give a shit. There's 37 million people here. There's 10 million guns. That's just citizens. Like, let's simmer down, Saudi Arabia, first of all.
On the image, by the way, it says, he who interferes, as the Arabic saying goes, he who interferes with what doesn't concern him finds what doesn't please him. And you know what bothers me most about that statement, Dave? that there should be a comma between him and fines. That bothers the fuck out of me. He who interferes with what doesn't concern him, comma, finds what doesn't please him. I see that English isn't your first language, buddy. You know, don't get me wrong. Trump tweets are, but it's part of it. You know. Anyway,
so let me start with the tweet from the Canadians.
Man, they memed a threat at you.
Yeah.
You know what? That just hit me too. Not only did they tweet it, but they memed it. It's a picture with. They memed a terrorist threat.
Yes, they did.
I wonder if that's a first in history.
Probably. Let me start with the tweet from Freeland, who's our foreign affairs minister, and then it was also tweeted out by Foreign Affairs Canada. It was a pretty standard tweet. I mean, maybe they could have not done it in tweet. Maybe they could have done it over the phone. I mean, that's probably the only thing that would have made it.
I believe the old school way is a press release. You step out on and you deliver a speech where you make your case. You don't just straight up fucking make a threat. Dave, when the first war is declared over Twitter by meme, I'm going to shoot myself right around here.
Okay, but I'm talking about the Canadian side. I'm not talking about this right now.
Okay. Sorry.
So the Canadian side, the tweet. But the issue that I take with, I don't take an issue with the Canadian government standing up for human rights. If you've known me for any amount of time, you know that I called my government and all the other governments Saudi whores. I've always believed that. I believe that if you're sucking their dick for the oil or you're selling them things, you're a fucking Saudi whore, because they are our ideological enemies. They are. They are the complete opposite of what a Western liberal democracy is. And I think that any Western leader that has grown up in the West and that is comfortable with I don't think they actually are comfortable with them. I think they're selling themselves. Do you know what? That's why I call them whores, because I think that they're doing something that they're not comfortable with, and I think that they're doing it for political reasons, for the economy, for jobs, for this, for that, for the other, right? So let me get back to Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland is what.
Dave, you will not ruin my illusion that whores love my cock.
Okay.
Go on.
Okay.
They do enjoy it. It's not awkward. Go on.
So I'm a bit scatterbrained with this. Hang on one second.
I made it worse for you with
Yes, you did. A deal was made to sell. Okay. So Canada has not sold their weapons technology. Our guns, our light armored vehicles, our tanks. We just haven't been selling them. Stephen Harper decided that was going to change and we were going to start selling our weapons to Saudi Arabia. So they made a massive arms deal. Now Saudi Arabia is buying our shit, right? But they hadn't gone into production when Justin Trudeau took office. When Justin Trudeau took office, he had the opportunity to say no, because he was the actual prime minister that did the final signature that put these vehicles and these guns into motion. So we start manufacturing the weapons. The weapons are sent over there. The weapons that they're using from Canada, they're using on their own citizens. They're using in Yemen to kill the Yemenis, to kill the children, to kill the women, to starve the people. It's a bit fucking rich, I have to say, of my prime minister and my foreign minister, to then get on Twitter and say, you arrested a woman when you're selling them weapons. It's a bit rich. It is a bit rich. It's like you're dealing with them. And on top of that, not only are you selling them things, but you're also buying 87,000 barrels of oil off of them every single day, because you're too much of a fucking cuck to tell the hippies in British Columbia to get out of the way so that you can build your pipeline to the east and you can build your pipeline to the west. So instead of that, we're going to buy fucking Saudi blood oil. Now, I'm not saying that they were wrong for calling out, arresting, but I think that section right there, calling them out for arresting Rafe's sister, is very political. Because as you know, the Rafe Bewadi or whatever his last name was a massive story in 2015. Huge story. Because he was he was an atheist blogger. He's the pet. He's the 2015. He's the Nelson Mandela of, not on the same scale, but a bit of a comparison to Saudi Arabia. He's that type of figure. You know what I mean? So I do think that because we took in the other sister and she was made a citizen, and so was her children. So his sister is a citizen of Canada. So I do think it's very political of them to put out a tweet when it involves his sister. And I do believe that that's the only reason why they did it. Now, Saudi Arabia's reaction was way over the fucking top. Like, hugely over the top. Like, you know, expelling our fucking ambassador. Like, that's a pretty standard tweet for a Western government to say to somebody that's in huge human right violations. Like, huge. Saudi Arabia is probably like the worst when it comes to women, right? If not the worst, the second worst. I can't think of, maybe Somalia is worse. Maybe. You know? I don't think so.
It would be some country that they border, or you could throw a rock and hit. I mean, so yeah.
But as the person said, we're not fucking Qatar, man. And although I'm very, very annoyed at our allies for not then saying, you know, Canada's right, don't arrest fucking women for no reason whatsoever that are just trying to get equal rights. I'm very annoyed at that. But I mean, come on, it's Saudi Arabia. Let's talk about the trade between Canada and Saudi Arabia. We only do, let me finish. We only do $3 billion a year in trade between the two of us. We sell them $1.5 billion in weapons a year. We buy $1.5 billion in oil from them a year. So, like, in context, the U.S. and Canada, between the two of us, do over $700 billion a year in trade. You know what I mean? So it's like, who really gives a fuck? But now they're over there making up stories that Canada is the worst when it comes to women's rights, and that we're tyrants of the West, and that we dictate what goes on in all the other Western countries, and that Jordan Peterson is a personal political prisoner of Justin Trudeau. Like, are none of our allies going to tell them to shut up? Like, is it like Britain? We share a queen with Britain, and Britain's going to say that we sent 100,000 men to die so that their fucking little tiny island wasn't taken over by the Germans. There was 3 countries that stormed the beaches of fucking Normandy to liberate Europe, and they have the fucking audacity to say Canada and Saudi Arabia are both close allies. Are you fucking kidding? Are you fucking drunk? Like holy shit. And Trump, the same thing, puts us on the same plane as Saudi Arabia. Fuck you.
You know, I was talking to my buddy at work today, and who didn't know that the Queen of England was also Canada's queen, right? And we were talking about this exact thing, you know, the threat made, and frankly, you know, I'm not a Trump supporter, but I'm not a never Trumper either. You know, I like to, you know, Ben Shapiro has a segment he calls "Good Trump, Bad Trump."
Okay.
You know, where he's like, I like this, I don't like this, I like this, I don't like this, and I that's the way I look at Trump too.
Yeah.
This is the worst thing he's done for me.
Yeah.
This is the fucking absolute worst. But and here's the thing, I'm really ashamed isn't the word, embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that our oldest trading partner,
Mm-hmm.
okay,
Largest.
and largest,
By
you know,
far, not even close. The next three aren't even.
And the tariffs were enough, you know. Arguments can be made about this or that or the other, or this is fair, or that's fair. You know, that's its own thing. But this set all that aside. They made a terrorist threat.
Yes. Yeah.
They just made a terrorist threat. And you know what doesn't trigger NATO? A terrorist threat.
Yeah.
And they know that. Here's the thing: if they were to actually attack you guys, we have to fight with you.
Yep.
Trump has us in, you know, like it's no. But if there's a terrorist attack,
like if they threaten at all, they don't have the they don't have the capability. They like Canada's military obviously isn't what it was, but we have an aerospace program. We have airplane manufacturers. We have huge car manufacturing plants here.
You guys have nukes?
No, we don't have nukes. We had 4. We gave them up.
You had 4. How cute!
Yeah,
that's so Canadian of you.
We gave them up. We don't need them.
So Canadian of you. I love it. Go on.
But we have the infrastructure to just to ramp up a war machine like that. Like and the money to do it. And the natural resources and the size.
Oh yeah.
To do it in an instant, and there are plans for that. So there is a reason why Saudi Arabia buys our weapons, because they don't have the capability to make them. Okay.
You know, Dave. You know how people fled Vietnam and went to Canada.
Yeah.
I swear to God, if Canada was attacked and you guys went to war and we didn't back you, there would be defectors. People would defect to go to Canada to fight with you. I swear to God they would, man.
That is a hidden thing about the United States that many people don't talk about, is that in World War I and in World War II, many Americans defected from the United States to Canada to join the Canadian military, to join the fight, because they felt like their country wasn't getting involved. Like many, platoons and platoons.
I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that. Yeah, no, it's a legit thing. So, and the same thing goes for this country. When you guys go to war and our country doesn't join, it's happened once in Vietnam. Over 30,000 Canadians defected and went to the United States and joined the fight. It's just something that we do. Because the people are so like-minded that there's bound to be enough citizens that are going to be like, okay, I agree with the Canadians, I'm going, or I agree with the Americans, I'm going. Right?
You know, I didn't know that historical fact, but I know like Americans enough that there's no way it wouldn't happen. You know,
many of the Canadian Air Force. The first Canadian Air Force in World War II, not the Canadian Air Force of World War I, but many of the Canadian Air Force in World War II were actually Americans. Well, like sky, like what do they call those guys? Plane jockeys or whatever the fuck they want to call them.
Yeah,
they're daredevils. So if you have a fighter pilots. If you have a fighter pilot in the U.S. and he sees a fucking war going on, you think he's gonna stay there? No, he's going to go to where the war is, and the fastest way is through Montana into Alberta and off to the fucking races. Right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I hope talking about that, like, it makes me feel a little better, man, because I before I met you and Ed, and a handful of other Canadians on Facebook through social media, you know, that thing that can be taken away arbitrarily at any time because it's a private company and fuck me. There's just a stereotype, you know, Mounties,
yes,
you know, right. Well, you know the stereotypes of my area, but you know, just very polite.
That's what I was talking about. Like they think that we're pacifists.
Well, yes, yeah. stern but peaceful.
Okay.
I would say would actually be the stereotype that I got. Like the British are known to apologize, but and you guys are an offshoot, right?
Yeah.
The British are known to apologize as well, but they're also known to fight and to be very stern. So you guys also have that double. Well, keep in mind. The Mountie, it's kind of comical, but it's also an authority figure, man. You know, it's this strong, still horseback riding. Like, think how masculine of a symbol that is. You know, so it's not all apologies. You know, but there's that undercurrent of it. So you know, and of course,
if you come as a friend, then we're very peaceful. We're probably the most friendly people on the planet.
And by the way, patriotic too. Like the. Do you ever watch that '70s show?
Yes.
Okay, so you know they go across the Canadian border to buy beer.
Yes.
Right. And Fez loses his ID and they get caught by the Mounties, trying to cross back into the border. Right. Mm-hmm. Do you remember how they got free? How they got away?
That episode.
Okay. They started singing "Oh Canada."
Okay, I could see that in the '70s. I could see that happening.
And it brought like the kids from that '70s show. You know, they start singing "Oh Canada," and the guards at the jail, the Mountie guards, like join in, and it brings a tear to their eye, and they're like, "Well, we can't hold you, kids."
Well,
like, so
I think it was part of our patriotism. I would say is born out of kind of necessity. Right.
Yeah.
Because it's not that the United States would be malicious towards us, other than Trump, who's completely malicious towards us. But it's just that when you have such a juggernaut right beside you, and you're so culturally the same, it would be so easy for us to just slip into being American if we weren't so patriotic.
Well, that's true. So you have to keep it there.
We have to.
Yeah, that's true.
We have to like when a Canadian does something well, we like to recognize that. And
Neil Young, woo.
Yeah, I think he sucks. But anyways, no, he's done well for himself. Like on the radio, they have to play a certain amount of Canadian content. You know what I mean? Because there's just so much music coming out of the U.S. that they could just play American music, and then the Canadians wouldn't get any airtime, so they have to do that. No.
How about this? Like of my top 4 artists that I really enjoy listening to, 2 of them are Canadian.
Yeah. So City and Color.
So, and Neil Young, and then there's Iron and Wine and Bright Eyes, which are American artists. Joe Rogan just called all that low testosterone music. By the way, last week he's all the folk. He's just low T. You know what I'm talking about?
Man.
I was like, oh.
Let me move on here.
Yeah. Okay, sorry.
So it is plainly obvious that Donald Trump doesn't like Justin Trudeau. Like that is like the most obvious fucking thing.
And vice versa, yeah.
And vice versa. Like and it's not just their personalities probably don't match, but ideologically they are the complete opposites. It's like oil and water. But you know what? Our countries have had that going. Like we didn't like Ronald like in my lifetime, okay? Like so let me take it back to Justin's father. Justin's father and Nixon hated each other. Nixon in the press called Pierre Trudeau an asshole, and Pierre Trudeau said back to him, "I've been called worse by better." But you know what didn't happen?
That's a classy response.
But you know what didn't happen? Tariffs.
What?
Tariffs. You know what else didn't happen?
You know what?
When a war came, or there was a country that was trying to knock the United States or knock Canada, we still had each other's backs. So
you know what, Dave? The second part, I would 1,000% agree with you, but there may not, like, tariffs may not have been put in place as retaliation for public slights. Yes. But there have always been tariffs between our countries.
and you've had tariffs on us. We've had tariffs on you.
Tariffs on you.
That's always been there.
Yes.
But these are punitive tariffs. These
are punitive, and he's making it personal to Canada.
Yes.
But on the other hand of that day,
singling us out,
rhetorically singling you out, but not singling you out in action.
No, sure.
Okay, so in actions speak louder than words, right? So Trump talks one game and does another and hopes for a third. Like that's like I think that's the best way to explain for him. He talks a hard game so that he can push you onto his side on the table, hoping for a third thing that hasn't been revealed yet. Okay. Is what I meant by that. It's a negotiating thing.
You can't call us a security risk, man. You can't call our
agreed.
A security risk.
And we've been over.
We've been over this, but I'm going somewhere with this, okay?
Okay.
Just allow me.
I'm listening.
You can't do this, okay? The reason why you can't do this is because I really don't want Justin Trudeau to win again. And every time he does something like this, Justin Trudeau goes up in the polls. So hear me out.
Go on.
His son-in-law, Kushner, is besties with the Crown Prince. Now, every expert on the planet has said that through that channel, the Saudis asked Trump if it was okay if they went after Trudeau.
Mm-hmm.
The Canadians are statistically the most educated people in the world. We have the most university and college graduates per capita. It's almost 60% of the population. We're not stupid people. We know that Trump and Buddy talked. Okay? So, the Liberal Party has already set it up that it's the Liberals versus Donald Trump, not the Liberals versus Andrew Scheer. A poll came out the other day. 89% of the population doesn't like Donald Trump. Only 11% of the population likes Donald Trump. So now that the population knows that fucking Donald Trump is part of this Saudi nonsense, he's gone up in the polls again. He fucks up on his own. If you don't like Trudeau, stay the fuck out of it. He'll do another India. He's a foreign affairs fucking disaster. He's not a smart man. Please, just let the Canadian Conservative Party or the Canadian NDP Party handle the situation in Canada, and he'll fuck it up on his own. We don't need Donald Trump's help because he's fucking it up. He's rising in the polls. And when it comes time, people will vote against Donald Trump. Not for Andrew Scheer, not for Justin Trudeau, but against Donald Trump by proxy for Trudeau. Seriously. Stop it.
Yeah, he's not thinking about elections in the future. Here, man.
No,
he's not.
They're doing this to fuck with Trudeau's numbers. For sure they are. For sure. He can't deal with Trudeau. It would be much easier for Donald Trump if Andrew Scheer was prime minister. Much easier. Much easier.
And here's the thing. Outside of some revelation and an investigation and impeachment or death, I don't see how we're not going to have Trump in for another 6 years, Dave. I don't see it, man. Mm-hmm. His approval ratings right now are better than Obama's was at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, some polls put him at 50%, man.
Well, I saw
some right leaning polls put him at 50, but the point is, and of course Nate Silver has him low as shit. Mm-hmm. So and somewhere in the middle would be the high 40s.
Okay,
right. That's incredibly fucking high, man.
I don't trust polls. Ever since the last election here in Canada, I don't trust polls.
Look, I do and I don't trust polls, and it's hard not to be in an echo chamber on social media, and that's where a lot. And I'm in Alabama, so my personal anecdotal life experience data pool is skewed to Trump, man. But okay. the more the left spurgs out, and they have become a spurg out machine, the better he looks.
Oh, of course.
Okay,
But
who are they running to beat him? So like who?
I don't
Like
know,
and
man.
like I'm thinking about me, like who I would vote for next time. Could I bring myself to vote for a Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren? You know,
Well, I could probably vote for Bernie. He's the only American that came out, really.
you know, I could. Bernie's such an idiot, man. He's such a cuck.
I think that that Joe Biden should run. That's what I think.
But Biden should run, like when I look back at how Bernie Sanders let Black Lives Matter cuck him,
Yes.
and then how he let the Democratic Party cuck him.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, he's not strong enough. He's not strong enough.
He's not strong enough to be a leader of America. And for the record, I loved Bernie Sanders in 2016.
Yeah.
Okay. Today, knowing and knowing more about socialism and knowing more about the principles of economics, I would have trouble voting for Bernie Sanders. I would like a more reasonable conservative to vote for at this point, because I'm losing hope for the Democratic Party at all. But Trump has a hold of the Republican Party at this moment. He has a tight grip on them.
Yeah.
The Never Trumpers lost. Absolutely lost.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So for me, like what I was talking about earlier with the thing that happened with Pierre Trudeau and Nixon, like my problem with the Trump situation, because it's like I'm not American, so like I don't live with the day-to-day nuts and bolts of the things. It seems like to me Trump is a lot better, or he has better people at the nuts and bolts part of running a country than what Justin Trudeau has. Like our economy, like it was doing bad. It's doing good now. I don't know what happened. Anyways, it's doing better. But it's like just the because they are like two ideological polar opposites. Without being an actual fascist and an actual communist. I mean, within the frame of the beginning of the arc. When you look at the nuts and bolts of the country, I think that Justin Trudeau is a terrible prime minister. I think he's probably one of the worst, if not the worst we've ever had. Just at the everyday stuff. And that's the stuff that actually matters when you're looking at a country and for the citizens inside. Maybe not when you're looking from the outside into the country, but when you actually live in the country, it's the nuts and bolts that matter. Like how they talk to foreign countries, like what are your tax rates, what's the unemployment rate, those types of things. And he's been abysmal at it. My issue with Trump is that he's treating our allyship, our what's supposed to be the closest allyship the planet's ever known over the past 200 years. There's been nothing like this of the sorts. The longest unguarded border in the world, the largest trading partners in history, the countries that are probably like we speak basically the same accents, everything's the same, and he's treating it like he would a business, like not a business friend, like what can you do for me now, instead of worrying about the people that live in these two countries going forward. Because like when JFK made his let no man put us under speech about Canada and the United States, he wasn't thinking about his term and what can you do for me right now. He was thinking about the shared history of the people and the shared future of the people. And that's what Donald Trump is not doing. He's thinking about what can I get right now and how can I get this and what am I going to... But we still have to live here. We still have to get along when you're gone. And 6 years goes by in a blink of an eye. and especially if he doesn't make it through another term. 2 years goes in a blink of an eye.
Like I was thinking today that I really hope that's the one, because Trump is going to have a lasting effect on the political system in the United States. Mark my words. The one thing that I hope doesn't stay is this, and I talked about this some months ago on the show where I said that his plan is to keep his, attack your enemies only when you need to and keep your allies off balance. Mm-hmm. Because then who can threaten you? Mm-hmm. It's the way Britain did it when they were an empire.
Yeah.
You like even when you were working with Britain, it was always in their favor.
Of course,
it was always for their gain.
But you know that Britain had free trade back then. Did you know that?
I'm sure they did. Our economic principles come from that exact time period of British history. Colonial British history. That's Adam Smith and so forth. So. Yeah, and the other part would be the tariffs, but I think that he's using the tariffs as a negotiation tool, not as a permanent fixture, or
yes.
let me finish, or as a way to run the economy, generally speaking. Mm-hmm. China has shown a little evidence of giving. So I don't know, man.
We haven't.
No.
We're not.
No, well, you're not nearly as vulnerable.
No.
You're not nearly as vulnerable.
He off topic. Another country I don't care about. He sank Turkey today.
Who sank Turkey?
Trump.
How?
He doubled the tariffs
on Turkey.
Yeah, and now their dollar, which is called a lira, is worth 17 cents Canadian on the dollar.
That's funny.
That's a NATO country, by the way.
Look, man.
They shouldn't be. In my opinion,
they shouldn't be.
They shouldn't
yes.
be. But
yes.
They got in when they had an era where they became a liberal democracy. They got in, but they're no longer that country anymore. They're not that liberal democracy anymore. They're an Islamic theocracy now, and an Islamic theocracy, as well as Saudi Arabia, should not be in. But Trump has no problem with Saudi Arabia. Like, he'll go there and he'll dance with the fucking mulis and imams and put his hands on the crazy fucking lights. Anyways, I just hope that for both.
Do you think they saw that Simpsons episode before they did that?
I have no idea.
Like here's okay. So there are three views of this, mm-hmm. and I wish I had the meme to throw up right now. If you don't, if anyone listening doesn't know, Google Trump glowing orb Simpson Saudi Arabia. You'll find the image. The Simpsons had pretty much an exact picture of the glowing orb, the three guys touching it. Only three things are possible. Matt Groening is God or some sort of psychic. Mm-hmm. Incredible coincidence. Mm-hmm. Or someone is a Simpsons fan and has an incredible sense of humor.
I'll go with the coincidence.
I'll go with the third part.
The sense of humor?
Yes. Yeah. Come on.
Like a Saudi has a sense of humor like that? Are they even allowed to watch The Simpsons?
Okay, you think Saudi princes don't watch American
of course
TV?
Of course.
Did you hear my anecdote about selling MDMA to fucking Saudi students?
Of course.
They're human beings. They're human beings just like we're human beings, Dave. Yeah. And shit, dude, Trump might have set it up.
Mm-hmm. You know what?
He is the Master Chief.
That is true.
Did I just drop out?
You just scattered a little bit. Do you know what the real?
Okay, he is the Master Chief of Charles. Go on.
Yeah. with the Saudi Arabia thing. So they're trying to diversify their economy. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to build cities, like new cities, Western cities within Saudi Arabia, that Western businesses can go there and do their business in these cities. And that's the money that everybody's scared out on missing. It's the construction in those building those cities, and that's why our allies aren't really speaking out. But if everybody was like, listen, if you want to do business with us, you can't crucify people, you can't fucking behead people, and you can't arrest women activists, there would be nothing that they could say. But if you leave it to one country to say, hey, then because you know that they did this to Germany, right? The same thing that they're doing. Well, they didn't do it quite as bad to Germany. So last year, or in 2015 or 16, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia kidnapped the Prime Minister of Lebanon and forced him to resign as Prime Minister because he wasn't towing the Saudi line. Germany called him out on it, and they fucking severed financial ties with Germany. Like, they're back to doing business with each other, but their immediate response when they're caught doing something is to just, throw a fucking complete tantrum. We, Canada, get called out all the fucking time because of treatment of Native Canadians, First Nations people, even though they get free university, free healthcare, welfare. Their tribes and their bands are given all kinds of money. There's a dark history there. But do we fucking throw a temper tantrum? The UN came and told us that we weren't doing a good enough job compared to, like, and then you go to Saudi Arabia and look how they're treating their citizens. Did we throw a temper tantrum? No. We said, okay, well, let's see your report. And if there's something in there that we think we can do better, we'll do it fucking better. Because we're fucking grown-ups. And that's what grown-ups do. Right?
Right. I think that man, we should have tweeted back like a picture of a drone and some military boots.
Yes.
Like
yes.
Not a single word.
Yes.
Not a single word on it. Or like a picture of a sword or a pin, bitch, it is your fucking choice.
Yeah.
It is your, try it.
Yeah.
Try it. I'll tell you what, we run the world, so we don't have to tell you our sayings. You know them already. And what I responded, the Saudi government, the same website that put out the tweet, one of them said, Canada made a major folly. In Saudi Arabia, our motto is palm or the sword you pick. My response to that was the sword. Come over here. You won't like what you find. Like, we don't fucking care. Like, are you crazy? Like, you're not talking to fucking Lebanon, Qatar. Like the author said. Like, have you lost your fucking minds? Like, seriously. Mm-hmm. Like, mm-hmm. if you honestly think, like, do not understand what NATO is. Like, take aside, like, even if Cuchter von Cuchterstein in fucking Parliament Hill, Canada, was like, I'm not going to defend my country. Do you not know what NATO is? Do you not know what would happen to you if you attack Canada? Even if we couldn't defend ourselves. Do you not know? Like, shut up. Quit being so fucking... That's why they sent... Of course they know. That's why they sent the terrorist threat instead of an actual threat. They can't do shit. Right. They can't do shit. They're throwing a temper tantrum. They can't, like... And it's not like I'm like, yeah, we should be lipping off to everybody because we're NATO. Because NATO countries actually considering... We could bully the world.
Considering what NATO countries could get away with. Because if you attack one, then you're in trouble with basically 3/4 of the world. They're pretty chill about it.
Let's say
Like-
three-quarters
like
of the world GDP and military
GDP.
power.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Like, not.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
mean like population.
People. Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
mean population.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're pretty chill about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're just like I did have one more point on this because I was thinking about it while I was working today. Just let me bring that. I might have lost it, man. It's pretty late.
Yeah. I think we've been going on for close to 2 hours now.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
Fucking Saudi Arabia, ridiculous, eh?
Fucking Saudi Arabia.
Like I don't know, they should just stay where they were, and just like if you want it, like seriously, if you want to, and I'm not saying that you have to become a Western country, but basic human rights, like
Basic human. Well, look, they are on the UN Human Rights Council, which should
insane,
be part of the response should be that all the NATO countries should lobby to have them removed at this moment.
They shouldn't have even been allowed on there in
Hey,
the first.
you know what? One last thing.
Yeah.
And we talked about this earlier, and we talked a lot about how America is failing Canada, and I really feel that's true. America's failing Canada. The fact that the UK, that's so much more to me. That is so much more.
It's way
Oh,
worse.
oh my God, they were going to if you guys couldn't save them from the Nazis
Yeah.
before we joined,
Yeah.
right? Back when it was up to you. Their plan was to flee to your country,
Yes.
the royal family, to preserve their ancient and great house.
Yes.
All right, and they have your back, none.
None. And here's the thing
None.
too is that like
Damn.
if I was them, I would be very, very, very careful at this point in juncture because they're going to need trading partners. And I think they're going to find a cold Canada when the time is up and they're actually a sovereign nation again, and they're allowed to trade with the rest of the world when their EU overlords are no longer ruling them. I think they're going to find a cold Canada. And
You mean if they escape their vassal state status?
yes.
Yes.
We
Well,
won't forget this. Did you see the tweet that I posted that said the guy said the UK and US ran for cover. I guess it's up to Canada to stand up for human rights. Did you read that tweet? That tweet is not just from anybody. It's from a long standing politician. He was a premier of Ontario. He's a bigwig in the Liberal Party. He holds a lot of sway in Canada. That person. So even outside of when parties are ruling, this guy's been in politics in Canada in multiple parties for 40 years. So he has sway. And if he's angry at you, when you come, he's going to have people's ears. Like, stop it. It's insane that the UK would like that, and the EU as well. We fucking liberated them. Like, you would be fucking German bootlickers right now. Like, seriously. Like, the members of the EU. Like you would...
Same here. They've done nothing but insult us. Like, that's why what Trump's doing with the EU bothers me 0%. Mm-hmm. We liberated your corpse twice. Mm-hmm. Okay, we spent a great deal of blood on your continent twice,
and a shit ton of money.
And here's the thing: if you have a problem with Trump, that's one thing. But let's be honest, we've been the butt of your jokes for a good 50 years now. Mm-hmm. You know, the loud, obnoxious, fat American, and you know it hasn't even been 100 years, guys. It's 100 years since World War One.
Yeah,
Right.
70 something from World War II.
Yeah, and Great Britain has been shitting on us too. The UK's been shitting on us, and they've been shitting on you, and the EU has every reason to want to punish them, to show every other country under their dominion what happens when you leave. So
Yes.
who's left?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's left? China, Australia, the Middle East? Oh, I'm sorry. You guys have been invading the Middle East with us. Okay, China, Australia.
Yeah, China, Australia. But
Like,
even at that point, they will have probably pissed off the Australians too.
And here, I know we're getting way off topic here, and we can shut this down anytime, Dave.
Yeah, no, that's good.
But,
Keep going.
The right decision was to leave the EU, but the opposition to it was in charge when they decided to, and then they're in charge of the negotiations, and they have every desire on a personal level to want to bomb them. Like why? Yeah. Like you think your party's going to be popular if you pushed against something that ended up giving your people more freedom and ended up making them more money in the long run? Like it would wreck your party. So on a personal vendetta, they wouldn't want to get a good deal. Like with this really might be the fall of the UK, man.
Yeah, it could be. And I, for one, was perfectly willing. Like, it's not like I have a fucking say, but I would have been happy even a month ago to see them taking into the NAFTA fold. Because let's all be honest, NAFTA's not going to be gone. Like, it's just not. Like, eventually something's going to get signed, whether it's when a new prime minister or a new president, if these people can't get it done right now, it's going to be signed eventually. So
that's true.
I would have been happy to see Britain as a dual citizen, which I am going to, like, that's it. Now that side is like done. That's done. That's it. I may even just denounce it. Like, officially.
Think it over, man. Think it over.
Yeah. Well, this is a pretty serious affront, man. It's like
it is.
They said that Saudi Arabia and Canada are both close allies. So did the U.S. They put us on the same fucking moral plane, the same friendship plane. It's insane. And do you know what the EU said? The cocksucker of it, we stormed the beaches in France, fought our way from France to the fucking center of fucking Germany to stop you guys from being oppressed, and you told us you don't get involved in international affairs.
The goal of the greatest empire in history to say we don't get involved.
No, that was what the EU said. That was
the EU.
Okay. But that's the goal. We don't get involved. But that is a great fucking goal, man. So you don't get involved in international. So we shouldn't either. Okay. Well, here's the deal. When Putin gets tired of being squeezed by Trump and Canada's sanctions, and he decides to get fucking squirrely over there and fuck Germany's prime minister, we'll let him. See ya.
Well, when the Fourth Reich takes over, and I'm not calling them Nazis, I kind of see the EU as that. I really do, Dave. It's hyperbolic, but not at the same time. Mm-hmm. Like okay. It's a consolidation of Europe under what is essentially German rule.
Yeah, that's true. Anyways,
man, I've really enjoyed tonight's talk. I feel like it was really good.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
There was one more thing, but I forgot. I should have written down. Because sometimes when you're thinking, you have a bunch of thoughts going on at the same time about the same subject. coming at it from a different.
No, I got you. I should have written down a few things because I had more to say on Jones. Like Ancient Aliens is still on History Channel.
Holy shit, that's like the worst. Like, I'm not gonna say holy shit like as if they should have been taken off the air, but
no,
it's
no. Okay. So the point of that isn't oh well they should be taken off too. The point is if Jones can be taken down, a lot of cultural icons are on the chopping block. People don't get it.
I've remembered.
First they came for Jones.
I've remembered.
What's up? All right, go on.
Okay, so moving forward, after Saudi Arabia starts insulting Canada, sends us the fucking tweet from the government website, hammers us with all these fucking, I guess, can a fucking evil country even put a sanction on somebody? Anyways, cuts trade ties. I saw our finance minister on television today, and a reporter asked him if we were going to hit them back financially, and he said no. I find that very curious. For two reasons. We have the oil. We don't need their oil. We don't have to buy their oil. We shouldn't be really selling them weapons. But why would we hit Trump back and not them?
We didn't make any threats.
We hit Trump back.
Boy, that's a good one.
So, can we really call him like okay? He's a curious guy, Justin Trudeau. He has a winning amateur boxing record. Now, somebody may say amateur. He's an average amateur boxer, but an average amateur boxer will box the fuck out of a normal guy. You know what I mean? It's like apples and oranges. It just and conservative talk show radio hosts here in Canada have challenged him to boxing matches, and every single time, and other conservative MPs, and every single time Trudeau's kicked their ass. But he cucks out on all these other shit.
I just think boxing is so controlled.
Yeah.
And it's agreed. But
he's not scared to do it.
No, he's not scared to do it. But I think that I can see his personality be willing to do that. But would he to actually be in an international conflict and an actual war? Yeah. Would be more like an MMA fight in the streets than a regulated boxing match in a ring, and I can see where I don't know.
My question.
It's a metaphor I got to work out.
My thought is, the reason why he's not hitting the Saudis back, is because he shouldn't have fucking tweeted. They give Donald Trump shit for tweeting all the time here in Canada. Justin Trudeau mocks him for his tweeting. So does the Liberal parties. Tweeting is not a very fucking diplomatic way. It's not a good place to argue. You don't get a lot of fucking words. There's no intention behind your voice. And if you're selling somebody weapons, you don't like the way they're treating the people, you should give them a call, tell them, hey, I don't like the way you're treating the people. I'm not going to sell you the weapons. I'm not going to buy your oil. If you continue to do that. If they want to sever ties with you, at that point, sever ties. Because
then you have to have a spine, Dave.
Okay, but here's the thing. He hit Trump back.
Well, he knows that dude, America's not an actual threat to Canada.
I know, but neither is Saudi Arabia.
No, that's not true, because Saudi Arabia could ramp up terrorist attacks against your country. Mm-hmm. There is zero threat of physical violence between my country and yours.
You're right. I didn't think of the terrorists.
Okay, here and this goes back to my metaphor, right? Of him, like what's going on between Trump and him is it's regulated. Mm-hmm. It's not going to spin out of control. There are international rules that both of them have to play by. Mm-hmm. Saudi Arabia is that MMA fighter in the street.
Yeah, you're right.
He's scared. He's scared. Yeah. He's scared because that meme could come true.
Yeah, that's true.
And then he's Bush.
Yeah, and he's Bush.
You're the prime minister that let Saudi Arabia under your nose attack your citizens after warning you.
Yeah.
You know, so that's. Oh, I'm so glad that metaphor worked out. Pooh! I was feeling bad about it.
Oh wow! All right, buddy. Okay, I'm gonna shut down this live. We're from now on. We're gonna try to be here on Fridays. Make it the same day, every time.
Dude, I'm fine with that. Sometimes I don't get off work till 8:30 or 9 Central. That's cool. So we might have to go late. But if you're fine with 9 p.m. or after Eastern.
Yeah, like 9 p.m. or later is cool with me.
Yes, 9 p.m. or later Eastern. Yeah. Subscribe, guys. Like. Do whatever.
I turned into an Italian today. I was like.
Hey, hey, shoot that guy. Yeah.
Do you even have any Italians in the South? Or they don't act Italian, right?
They don't act Italian, but there are Italians in the South. Check it out. My mom, my actual birth mom, married an Italian guy. So when I met my mother, she was married to this guy living down in Florida, right? He was like this New York Italian cop. That retired in Florida, all right? So very, very stereotypical. And she goes, well, maybe we'll visit in Alabama sometimes. And he goes, don't they like hang people there? and I'm like, in Italy they still have gallows up, you cocksucker. Yeah. Like we at least took ours down.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Anyways, don't you think though? Like I personally think that we should just be like, here, your oil, we don't need it. Like that. Like it's just a very. They're putting out propaganda on their news networks.
On their Twitter.
On their Twitter and their news networks.
Yeah.
Why are we buying oil? Like I don't understand that part. Like you and if you're so I'm gonna say this one last thing and then I swear to God we'll go. If you're going to come out and say, hey, don't fucking arrest those women, release them immediately, you better be willing to do something, i.e. sanction, i.e. a boot in the ass, or it's just a virtue signal. And as we all know, virtue signals are useless. Right?
Yeah.
So he's proven that he's not willing to do anything about it.
Limp dick cuckery. Yeah.
But at least he wouldn't apologize. I'll give him credit for that. Wouldn't that have been fucking hilarious? Not really hilarious. I think I would have killed myself. As a Canadian, I would have just offed myself right there if he had apologized to Saudi Arabia. Like, what's the point? There's no point. Like, what's the fucking point?
Oh, man. We almost did a story about... While this is going on in the background, Islamic extremists were training some kids in New Mexico to be school shooters, by the way. While we're taking Saudi Arabia, the fucking king of... That's what we're closing this on, Dave.
Yes.
The king of terrorism threatens our northern neighbor. We say, not our business, while we find terrorists training to shoot our kids.
Insane. At the same time that you're finding terrorists that want to shoot your kids in school, we found a mosque that in the city that I live in that has been hate preaching and talking about terrorism and has lost its status and its tax money and all that.
You know, this guy's dad is like a famous imam too. Mm-hmm. like fucking Omar that shot at Pulse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And you know it's the Saudis that pay for all these mosques, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. That's the connection I'm making.
Yeah.
While they plan it loosely, loosely while they plan a terrorist attack against us and threaten one against you, we don't take sides. It's so fucking dickless.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, like this is the most dickless thing Trump's done. This is the first time I would ever describe Trump as dickless.
Almost Cuckington.
Very, very close, man. That's been the one thing that I've been like where I still prefer Trump over Trudeau is I would rather have a strong failure than a cucking failure.
Yeah.
You know, just at least he's trying.
Mm-hmm.
At least he has the guts to follow through.
Sure.
You know, like that's something, you know, and I have a lot of things that I approve of Trump with as well, you know, which I've never said I don't believe it to him. Like it's always the other side. There's a lot of things I don't agree with. There's a lot of things I agree with too, you know. Yeah. Like I said, good Trump, bad Trump. Let's fucking close this down.
All right, buddy. Okay.
Click that broadcast button.
Boom.
But nope, and then the check mark next to YouTube. Or just YouTube there.